So, coronavirus updates with Mark Rego-Monteiro at Spiritual Judo for Sustainable Jesus. Excuse me. So this author then, this opinion writer at dw.deutschewelle.com gets into a lot of the ideas that I've been developing myself, which are that, and articulates even a little bit further, takes them a little bit further. That is, that the quarantine, shutting down the economy, is hindering the society's capacity to respond. My focus includes the anthropological, sociological, and psychological perspectives. That is, people's well-being is intimately linked to their socioeconomic activity. We are not hunter-gatherers anymore. We are, for the most part, right? We are in modern society, and on the one hand, and spiritually, we're also not Tibetans in a monastic society, accustomed to severe personal spiritual discipline, right? So any other perspective is simply willing to ignore that reality and ready to subject people, the totality, the total population, particularly the less privileged, to the context of a personal challenge that normally is associated with driving people crazy. To put it simply, right? We're talking about stress, mental health issues, mental health challenges, psychosocial challenges, and one report from Germany from the minister that resonates with that correlates with that, is the warning against an increase in child abuse, right? So we're dealing with various levels of reality here, but it's the important thing is to get it all interrelated and interconnected and understand the basics, essentials, which includes jobs. Jobs are not just important for the rich and the greedy, who are the problems, and the investors, but for the people who need food and who need the basic reassurance and sense of confidence and self-esteem and social esteem that comes with participating in work, right? So that's the basic importance of jobs for people in the mainstream. So, okay, we've got what are we going to do? You know, are we going to just abandon it altogether? No, this is where we balance out and have an inclusive combined strategy that's basically what Sweden, Singapore, Hong Kong, Vietnam, and Taiwan are all doing, which is targeted public health strategy policy to protect the high-risk groups, 70 years old and plus especially, previous conditions, and identify the infected, and then to apply quarantine measures and type of things with that kind of focus to allow then the larger economy to continue, which then provides us with the resources such as the additional articles I have here. I've got news recently that Ford is helping GE make ventilators. 3M is also going to manufacture respirators. Okay, ventilators, respirators. That Bosch has invented a new virus test for 2.5 hours. Right, that works in 2.5 hours and not 2 days. UK manufacturers are going to make more ventilators. Let's see, Sweden hasn't engaged in a lockdown. They are going to ban gatherings of more than 50 people. I mean, that's still fairly liberal and generous in terms of social activity, right? So, let's see here. Okay, I'm just going to go to then Dr. Lissa Rankin, because then I'm going to return to this point about psychosomatic medicine. And so, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm flipping between my Portuguese and my English. Psychosomatic medicine and spiritual life. It's a very neglected side of American culture in general. That's what I'm writing a lot about these days, and it's a psychological factor. And in psychology, it's been more specifically called transpersonal psychology. Our relationship, and it's really our relationship to the universe, right? I mean, what's your relationship to nature? Is it purely scientific? Is it ecologist? right? I remember that kind of distinction from college. And let's see here, where am I going? Okay, got just a certain time there. Right, so then spiritual life and spiritual activity ultimately gets into, it has a very important aspect in human psychology, right? And so what has inevitably happened, what has happened in a powerful manner has been the development from Freudian based secular psychology, therapeutic psychology, which shows the relationship between childhood experience and the corrupting and compromising of optimal personal function through stresses, parental attitudes, verbal and emotional abuses, attitudinal abuses type things, sexual abuse, as that goes forward, so that an adult then has this opportunity to use psychotherapy, therapeutic psychology, to pursue more increased and better mental health that's also linked to the immune system, as we see with studies like Dr. Gail Ironson's, and the development of psychoneuroimmunology and the placebo effect and that kind of thing. I already did a video on that, I believe, that's up and has some mentioning of that. So you can look at that too. But then it moves on to this issue of the relational, because, and so I think I'm going to have to stop here for this segment. So see you in a moment. Thanks.